Hello and welcome. In this stream, I want to show you, or actually continue, the bridge commander recreation of the bridge sequence when you are the captain to control NPCs. So basically what you're doing is sitting on the bridge on a ship. You look at an NPC that sits on some station, like for example weapons control, science, or whatever, and you're looking at that NPC and you click on it and a menu opens up. And in this menu you can then issue commands to that NPC or change certain settings yourself. And that's basically what I'm trying to recreate in Elite Force 2. I have already streamed that 2 times now, and I've not yet come to a result that I actually like. So I will continue today because I actually like working on this, because I think it's a nice exercise. It's very different from what I'm usually doing. Usually I'm fixing bugs or adding simple new features or translating maps, like for example changing single player maps to work with multiplayer. In this case I want to experiment a little bit more by creating completely new features. This is script based, so there's no heavy C++ going on. Last time I had a little bit trouble with it because it got more and more complex and I got quickly tired, so I had to stop. And today I spent quite some time actually create a flowchart of what I actually want to happen. Now, so I have a legend here that explains the symbols, the colors, and the shapes. Now this represents a player. Then there can be a yes, so something is true or some event is as stated, and next arrow, which means that if it's not no, it's usually yes or next, if there is such an arrow. Then I have a if check, which is a code condition. Like in the code there is a command that checks something, that checks for if a player is present, if the player has pressed a specific button, if a variable has certain contents, or if a menu is open, something like this. Then I have a termination condition or command that terminates something, that ends something. And then I have a function shape here that defines the call or starting of a function. Then I have a loop shape here that represents some code or function repeating itself. So here's the example. We have a while loop here, the pretty green thing here. And while this loop is running, the code below it, all of it, is executed once per server frame, which means basically 20 times per second is the right way to say it, which is executed 20 times per second, and this code here is running all the time. Then I have an exit condition. For example, here, if the player exists and is alive, then we go to next, that would be a white arrow. Or if that is not true, so it's no, we go to exit. This would exit the entire function here. And then we have actions. These darker green shapes are actions. For example, here the code will wait a frame. So this is a specific command to make the game, the script code in game wait a moment before continuing. Then I have another action here in this segment. There it would close the menu and reset the field of view for the player. And another here would be stop dialog and reset head. Yeah. Then there's another again. And here's one for player, zoom in on target, player, close previous menu, and then again, wait 1 second. Yeah. And so on. So the next is then an event, which is this blue here, the blue shape. An event is something that actually starts the script or has a direct influence on it. The event is controlled by the game. And in this case, it's a trigger being used by a player. Okay, so let's go through this flowchart here. First, I have a player using the trigger, which causes an event. This event is a function being started. This function then checks first if it has been started by trigger. If that is so, it continues. If not, it ends immediately the function. Then if trigger used by player, so if that trigger was used by a player, the function continues. If not, the function ends. It goes to exit. Then it checks next if player is already handled by this function. So if the player has already used this trigger and the function loop is running. If that is so, it stops again the function and exits. If not, so this is the red arrow here, if not, it goes on to the loop, which iterates once per server frame. Now this loop contains these elements here, or these commands. It goes down to, let me see. Yeah, let's start here. The loop waits a second, waits a server frame, which is a specific time. It's like one second divided through 20 frames. So that would be 0.05. So this waits 0.05 seconds. And then it checks if the player that has started the trigger or used the trigger is still there. If the player is not here, it exits the function again because the player has left the server. If the player is still present, it checks if the player is pressing the left mouse button. But at the same time, it also checks if the player is pressing the right mouse button. Let's first go on the left side. If the player is pressing the left mouse button, it continues. If not, it goes back to the start of the loop. If the player pressing the mouse button is targeting an entity, which means a non-static object on the level like a door, an actor, another player, an item, a weapon, whatever, anything that's not static in the world, like a baked object in the map that can't be changed during game, that would be static. Next time we go to check if that entity that the player is targeting is in a specific list for targets that are valid in this use case. If that is the case, we continue. If not, it goes back to the head of the loop. So the very brightly green button over here. If the player has the station menu, so the menu for the specific action, is open, it checks if the target the player is currently targeting is different from the previous target. If that is the case, then the player will zoom in on target. The previous menu will close and the script will wait 0.1 seconds before continuing. At the same time, if the player has previously used any station and there is a previous actor in the script variables somewhere, then it will stop this dialogue that's being played by this actor, if that actor is playing a dialogue, and will kill a function which waits to reset the head of that actor. Because the actor will look at the player when they start to play a dialogue. Then, if the player exists and is alive after this 0.1 seconds, we go further and see if the currently targeted entity or station has a menu. If that is the case, this menu will be displayed to the player. If the target is or has an actor, and this actor has a dialogue, it starts a function that waits for the dialogue to end and resets the head at the end. It also, in parallel, starts a dialogue for this actor, so the actor talks and looks at the player. Oh. If the player, however, did not exist, we would leave immediately that function. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is build a script based on this flowchart. This will make it easier. I can recommend creating flowcharts. However, usually I don't spend half a day working on a flowchart that's digital. I usually take a used piece of paper or some book I have lying around in which I scribble sometimes, and I will make my notes. And this is way faster for me, and I will create there my flowchart. All right, so let me get started. I'm gonna move this here on my second screen because I can focus then on the primary screen. There we go. Oh, we don't need this. So the first step on the flowchart is the trigger. So let me start the gradient. The Eber gradient. There we go. And we're gonna load a map. Co-op bridge commander.map. So this is the trigger, right? What I had for problems was usually that I had to get very close to the trigger. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger and move it a little bit up, because I had always to aim downwards a little bit. Now this is the trigger, pretty easy. That starts this function here in script. And the function here in script is starting here. Now, our first check or flowchart junction or point is if the function was started by a trigger. That's this here. If does entity exist? First we get the trigger. Do it like this. Grab trigger that started this function. Now we have a entity variable, we put the current entity into this variable, and the current entity is always the one that started this function, and if there is none that has started this function, then we don't have a current entity, and this will be empty. And so we check if there is no trigger, it ends this function. Next, we check if the player used this trigger. That we can do by creating a new entity for the player entity variable. Then we grab from the trigger the entity that last used this trigger. If it was the player, it will be returned into this variable. And we check if this variable has any contents, if it's empty, or if the player exists. And if the player exists, we continue. If not, we exit here. Grab player. So at this stage, we have a valid player. Our next step would be player if player already handled by this function. The way we can check this is here. Now we don't need an else here. At this stage we have a valid player. That's check if player already is handled. If the player is already handled, we print out a message to the player that he already is the captain, and exit this function. So let's go here and exit, right here, exit. That'll make it easier to understand. Now, the player is now the captain, and we want the player to know that there is something going on. So we print a message to the player. So right now we are at this part here. Then print info to player, mark player as handled. From here on forward, we have our loop, which is this one here. So inside the loop, we will have a few objects like, let me see, we have the player, we have a current actor, and we have a previous actor, we have a menu name, and we have a previous menu name. Okay, so let's go with creating the variables. It's not so when we create variables outside this loop, they are created once and they retain their value throughout the rest of the function. So basically until the function is ended. If I would have these variables inside the loop, they would always be recreated for each time this loop repeats itself, which I don't want in this case. So I go for entity e actor, entity e actor last, entity a target last, and entity target, but the target entity we can still create inside the loop. We don't need this outside. And I think the actor, yeah, with the actor we don't need outside. We need this inside. And we need a string. HUD, call it HUD menu last, because it can be a menu or a HUD. It depends on the menu file, how it will be presented. But we will always push it on the screen of the player as if it would be a HUD, because this is easier to control for the scripts. This is a more reliable command for the scripts. Okay, now we are at still outside the while loop. Yeah. Now we create the while loop. While, let me see what I used before. We're gonna assume this loop basically runs all the time. So we put a number 1 inside, which means true, so it's always running. In the head of the while loop, you can have check conditions, like checking if the player is still there or checking if the player is still alive. But we are not going to do that. We're going to do this inside the loop, not inside the loop head. Now, I'm not going to put any comment here for the loop, but we are going to wait 1 server frame. So a loop is a command that can contain code that repeats itself all the time. If you don't give the loop a limit or a abort condition, which we have here, we don't give it an abort condition, so it will always run continuously, it will not stop. It would freeze the game and eventually crash it. So to prevent this, this loop has a wait command in it. This wait command waits for a specific amount of time, 0.05 seconds, before this loop continues. And if you have a wait command in a loop, it will not freeze the game and crash it. So we're going to wait for server frame time. We are now inside the loop at this location here. Wait a server frame. Now we check for the player to be still present. We can copy this actually right here. So if the player does not exist, we are exiting. Let's just copy this over. Player does not exist. Let's do it like this. Player is dead. The player is dead. Let's just remove this for now. If the player is dead, we don't want the player to be marked anymore. Reset marker and function. Reset marker, remove menu, reset off, and end function. So just to be safe, I'm gonna reset the menu or remove the menu, and we are going to reset the FOV. So let's grab here this variable, which is empty, unless it's set somewhere, and it's not empty. And then it contains the name of the menu that was last added to the player, or shown to the player. And we want to remove that. Remove HUD. If there remove, yeah, we have information above, so I'm not gonna put commentary here, but The next thing will be to let me just check, remove, close menu and reset FOV. Okay, reset the FOV. I'm gonna grab the player FOV. We don't need to do any checks here actually. The player reset. Wait, FOV. Let me just copy the old code because laziness. Ah, that's easy. Later we can put this code into a function, which will make this code easier to read. But for now, I'm more concerned to get my structure right and build it after the flowchart, which I will do first, and then I can later optimize. So this resets the FOV. Player is dead. Reset marker. That is this. Reset marker. Remove that menu. Then reset FOV. Then exit. Now, beautiful. So that will be, we're here in the loop, then we wait a server frame, and we are now at this junction here. If player exists and is alive, we go further, but in this case, we assume he's not, does not exist, or at least he does exist, but is not alive. Then we exit the function. Before we exit the function, we want, of course, clear a few things up. And this is that here. It's not in the flowchart. Sometimes it's easier to have it not in the flowchart and edit later. The flowchart is just there to give you a general idea how that code or how what the idea is behind the program or the script. So let me check the flowchart. Okay, we're done with this part here. We're continuing now with if player pressing left mouse button or if player pressing right mouse button. So both conditions can be true at the same time. So they need to be separate. Let's just copy that from here. Where are you? There you are. Player holding left mouse button / pressing fire. It's basically the same thing. Let's do it like this. Players firing. We have our segment here, which will be everything that's here, and then down all the way. Everything that's here is happening there. And then we want to check the alternate fire or right mouse button. Just clone this, have it separated, right mouse button, pressing Alt fire. Alternative fire. Check fire. I need to look it up. Check fire alt. Okay, now that was simple enough. Check fire alt. So because this part is easier, I'm gonna do this first. If player pressing right mouse button, if player is in the menu, you need to check for that. If we need to overlay, or we need to set a variable to the player if a overlay is active. So we also need to clear that variable. In menu, now this should be changed later. If we go beyond the experimental phase, the script will be cleaned up and optimized, obviously, but for the purpose of this stream and for the purpose of me experimenting, I'll keep it simple. But I would strongly advise against doing something like this. I would probably prefer, or I would actually do the following. I would give this thing a name like Bridge Commander or B Commander. B Commander is actually shorter. I would name it like this, P Commander, then add an underscore and have it like this, B Commander in menu. So this cannot be confused with any future scripts or coding, because this is pretty unique, this part here. And let me just do this here as well. B Commander is Captain. Well, let's not talk, let's just do. Gonna reset that. And here in this case, we want to check if the player is indeed in the menu, which you can do by reading this variable of the player. Check if it is 1. If the player is in the menu, let me check the flowchart. If player is in the menu, close menu and reset FOV. If not, don't. So what we do is basically copy this code here. This code here. Remove hut/menu, reset the in menu variable, and reset the FOV of the player, because the player is zoomed at this time. Now we have this segment here. We are here. And this should actually, this should actually not go through here. It should also go here, because because if the player changes and the actor is still talking. Yeah, okay, so if the current player is doing that, the current player is in menu, player reset, remove menu and reset off. Let me see if there's a previous actor. Previous actor. Stop dialog. And wait function. So if that would be now here is if there is a previous actor. Let me just grab the variable here, actor last. If does entity exist, and if that actor is alive, get heal bigger than 0 or greater than 0, then we can do something. If not, we don't do anything. Here we're going to stop the dialogue of the actor. Stop talking. Previous actor stop dialogue and wait and end wait for stop dialogue. Reset wait and wait function. Stop dialogue and reset head. We just check head watch head watch target, and also let's just copy this. The rest we can change or copy later. Let's focus just on the current task. This resets the head, so if the actor was previously watching a player, it will stop watching that player. Reset head. And I think, yes, terminate previous function. That would be stop dialog reset head. That's missing here. That should be the same as here. So this part here should also be here. Kill thread. Give it a fancy name. B commander. Actor dialog timer. And yeah, the that's going to be too long, so we're going to change that a little bit. A timer. Just call it a timer and add the target name of this entity. That has the advantage that we can later rename the function we start in the first part here, so that each actor, when they have a different target name, which they should have, will have their own dialog timer thread by name, which can then be terminated without interfering to the dialog timer functions of any other actor. Let me just get my tea. Oh, great. Okay, here we go. Okay. Terminate dialog wait function for this specific actor. This specific actor. Excellent. So we have one segment complete, finally, which is the segment over here. The segment. Now we will continue on the left segment. It will be here checking fire. Check fire, that's here. If player targeting a entity. So let's grab a target. Let's see, do we need that target outside of this? Yes, we do. I think. But I'm not sure, so we don't do it. You can always fix things later. Entity e-target. A new variable. In this variable we put the target of the player. Player get target entity targeted entity. There we go. Now if there is no targeted entity, or rather if there is one, it will continue. If there's none, it will continue to the top of the loop and repeat. So we need to encapsulate that. If doesn't yet exist, so the player is indeed targeting a valid entity we do something. We just check if player targeting an entity. Yeah. Then we will check. Let's do it like this. If target. So we don't want to do anything really when the player is targeting the world. Basically the static level, because the static level is altogether a complete entity of its own, but it's everything that's non-static that belongs inside this entity. So it's the thing we actually don't want, but it's still an own entity. Because we don't want this, we will encapsulate this too. And we are basically now here, if player is targeting an entity, and we are going about to this step here. If entity is in target list. Now we have not yet the target list, but we have basically the function that is adding to the target list here. So all we need to do is grab it from the target list, or let us create a function that actually does this and execute that function. That would be the best way. And we have some code down here that's already doing that, kind of. Gonna be using that code if I find it. Here it is. Print in list. And yeah, we need this. I'm gonna copy it, create a new function. Again, add valid target, clone this, and change it to is valid target. And we're gonna do it like, yeah, we can actually, we're gonna use the entity, yeah, entity target. That's what we need. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Yeah, we still need this. Let's just change this part here. Commander. Yeah, let's just replace this. Bridge commander. All the string variables, replace all. Excellent. Good, we have the we also have the world check here, but essentially this is crap. We need the world check only just once, and this function should also return something. So we have it like that. And here. Yeah, we also want to know if the target actually exists. So let's modify this function a little bit. If does entity exist, does entity exist, or rather if it doesn't, yeah, does not exist, return. Or, well, in this case, let's just check for it. It does exist. Continue. If the entity is not world, let's just, yeah, let's remove that part. Keep that part if is valid target target. There we go. This exists. We actually don't really need this because we're checking inside the function and we're not planning to have this function otherwise used. Although maybe from the outside, yeah, that could be possible, so we keep it. If there will be some kind of upgrade to the code and new features or whatever, it's always good to have a check there. It's a little bit redundant, but in this case, you don't know what's coming next, so I'd rather keep it. Then we will check if the target is not world. Target is not world. We continue. And I don't need this code here. If that is so, we can actually copy this code here. We can actually, yeah, let's just in list, target in list. If there's target in list turn. Now we can move this code block up here. Okay. So we're grabbing from that list, let's edit here, each entity target name and compare it to the current entity target. If the target name of the current entity is not empty, and well, this check can also be here. Yeah, let's put it here. We don't need to create this variable if indeed we're not getting here. The target name is empty. We return let's just put this here. Yeah, no, let's not put it. Yeah, let's have it like this. If the target name is empty, if the target name is not empty, we continue here. And do it like this. There we go. Okay, let's check it again. Is valid target if it exists. Oh, there's something missing. Where are you? This one. like this, and there we go. If the target entity exists. If the target entity... Something's wrong here. Is that a bug? Well, let's do it just like this. If there's one too many. There we go. That was a problem. So let's go back. So I like it to be compact. If does target entity exist? And if target entity is not a world, and if target entity does have a target name, we check the list step by step. Grab the list at the current location, starting from 0, going to a maximum of 9. Then we compare their target names, and if this target name of the target is in the list, we set this to 1. And then we also end quickly the for loop, and we print a message in list. If not, we return this variable, which should actually be somewhere above float, and it's 0 on default. So if it does not exist, or is named world, or has no target name, or is not in the list, it will always return 0, because all conditions need to be true until it comes into this point for this variable to change to 1. Otherwise, it will always return 0. So let's go back down. Oh, let's first check the description here. That's a checks if the given entity is a valid target from the list. Now the list is constructed somewhere else. You see at the top somewhere, I think. Here. Every time a target is set up, it's also added to the list. Okay, let's go down. Oh, on this note, let's just check at valid target if let's just have it print out if someone tries to add world. Can even add targets that do not yet. Can even add targets that are not spawned yet. Not yet spawned. Just if somebody gets confused why we have target names here and not entities. If target name is empty, tell the player that this is not okay. Given target name was empty. Rejected. Let's check the target name for world. Given target name was world. And yeah, let's just make sure some random German starts with a capital letter. We'll also reject that. And while we are at it, also check for uppercase, because our message here implies that it's written in uppercase, but let's just cover all bases, because this function is not called very often and it's kind of critical for setting it up. So we want to give the player or the scripter who's using it some kind of protection against things that potentially take a lot of time for him to figure out. So we now check our flowchart again. We are here if entity is in target list. Well, we're here and we're now going here. If the player is already in the menu, we can check it with this variable here. If get float war. Yep, here we go. Just make this a little bit more compact. Now here, if target is different than last target. So what's gonna be more in this? Yeah, we can actually. Yeah, no, we need to know if the previous target actually exists. So we need to check that first. Yeah. If target is not, we need to know if there is a previous target. Target last. If does entity exist, target last. Oh, but yeah, let me see how we can do that. If entity does exist last, if entity, we actually need another function for this. That's smarter than what we're doing right now. So let's go and set a marker here. We need several conditions. The first condition would be the last target and the current target. And if the player is in menu, right? Only then this is done. Otherwise this is done. So this flowchart is wrong here. Already the flowchart is not just right. Anyway. This can be put all in one function. So let's do it. The current target, previous target, and target has changed. Yeah, we can just name a target has changed. Or unequal. Let's just change this. Okay. Yes, the audio was muted for a minute or two. Just needed to eat something. There we go. Check if entities are equal. I'll check if it is the same entity. If it's the same entity, let's just copy these two here and have them put up here. There we go. Let's go further down. That's what we need. It's easier to have it in a separate function, though, obviously. If they are indeed the same, or actually in this case not the same, we want something else to happen. Now let's check our flowchart. If player is in the menu, check, and the target is different, also check. We want the player to zoom in on the target. That goes in here. All right, so we just scroll down, grab our old code. We also want this and this. My player zoom and add HUD. So if they are the same entity, we have not yet retrieved the HUD. Need to do that, and it needs to be somewhere inside this loop here. So let's have a string variable that starts empty. And we need to retrieve the HUD name. The HUD name is useOver3. Let me just check. UseOver3 is the HUD name, okay. Of the target. If the target is valid, if the player is a menu, and if the entity is not, if the target is not the same, we actually need to retrieve the HUD name target get string var useOver3. That will return us this variable from the object. And if the HUD or the variable is not empty, we can add it. Let's just have this like that. Add menu slash HUD to the player if it is specified. Let's put them together and make this look a little bit more compact, because there's no reason not to do. And let's go make the player zoom in. One too many. Make zoom in. Now we need a float variable, and we grab the FOV of the player, the real FOV of the player. That can depend on the screen resolution. That can be different for all players. Because we want our mod and script to be always flexible and in favor of player settings, player individual settings, and screen resolution whatsoever, we grab the actual real user FOV from the player, their settings, and we scale that so we have 75% zoomed in on the object, I think. Yeah, no, 25% zoomed in. Yeah, the opposite. Yeah, okay. And then we set this FOF. Check our flowchart. Flowchart says player zoom in on target, player close previous menu, and wait. So the next step will be outside, will be here, and then we need to check if the player still exists, because we have a wait command, and every time we have a wait command, the player can leave the server. So the code is all executed at the same time in one frame, and if there's a wait command, it's not in the same frame. And in the next frame, the player can already have left the server, so we need to check that. We're not going to check if the player is still alive, because we do this later in the next frame again, and that's not so critical, so you can neglect that. Check if the player is still there. So actually, that step I think is missing in the flowchart. Yeah, that step is... No, wait, there it is. Nope. If the player exists and is alive, well, we don't need the alive part. But if the player does not exist, we exit. So let's go like this. Turn. Check if the player still exists there. Let's change that to exit if player is no longer on the server. Okay. Now we need to remove the menu thing. Now this is also wrong. This should be done like this, because we only need to check for the menu. There's so much errors on the flowchart. God damn it. Well, I think this was to be expected, because a flowchart is not real programming. So if you are working in a flowchart, it's extremely not quite abstract, but it's very general, and you're not accounting for many things. Otherwise the flowchart would explode in complexity. So go back to my flowchart. If the player is in the menu, that's the part we're doing right now. That should actually be separate. And this, we zoom on the target, close the previous menu, and we'll wait. Okay, zooming in we do. Grabbing the menu we also do. All right, that we shouldn't be doing. At least not yet. First we have to wait. So let's create another float over here. Float f. No I. No wait. E. Show menu. Show. Yes. No. Show menu starts with a 0. Then do we actually? Yeah, it's always in here. We'll always enter this part. Let's do it like this. No, that's still not right. Seriously. go like... Yeah, there's still an error in the flowchart. Damn. Well, let's continue as far as we can and then fix it. If this is the same entity... right. If it is not the same entity, we still... Yeah, but we still need to check. Now the target is there. But yeah, okay, so we can move this outside. Move this outside. If it is the same entity, we don't need this. At least not here. If the player is a menu, that is that part. Oh. Close previews menu / hot. The player remove hot. Oh, let's go for that. Just to be sure. Last HUD. Assuming there is actually a last HUD, not empty. There we go. We remove the previous. We're now doing this. The zoom out is here, or zoom in on target is here. Close previous menu is here. And waiting is the next step. It is not the same. Now we need the waiting. But only if the menu needs to be removed. Wait 0.1. We need to have this wait here because if the menu that's removed is the same menu that was used before, which can happen depending on whatever the mapper sets up, it would get stuck. It would not be removed the next time then. So to prevent this getting stuck, we wait until the menu is, at least the command for removing the menu is for sure reaching the player somehow. And even if the player is lagging, waiting 0.1 seconds is enough time so that the game knows that this command needs to be executed before the other. So there will be no hiccup. Okay, so if it is not the same entity, we remove the previous menu and we zoom in. If it is the same, we don't do any of that. So let me just check again. If target menu, if target has menu, if play exists and is alive, if target has menu, so we check if the player is there. And if it is not the same, we add the menu and we need to wait here. So if the player does not exist, right, we need this check here. Which means basically you don't need this check anymore. Because the only time we need to check is after wait, and we have this wait here. And the code goes down here then, so yeah. If exit played is no longer on the server, there we go. Okay, so flowchart, target has menu, close previous blah blah. Okay. Let's go to if target has menu. It's not. All right. So always inside here. What would be this? If target, let me see, let me go down to the loop. Yeah, we're gonna need this S hood menu last. Will be overwritten e target last. Also be overwritten by e target. There we go, we need these. And just check again. Yeah, if it has a target, target has menu. If there is a menu specified, we already have that here. Add menu. Let's just add grab menu HUD from target. If there is a menu specified, add to player screen. If is not empty, basically the player add HUD. Let's do it like this. Here we go. Then we have this part. Yeah, we have this part here complete. And we're done with this part. So the next part is a little bit more complicated. But I think I'm gonna take a break for a moment, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So I will be back in a moment.
Hier einfach ein, zu viele Leute drin.
Chris!
Ah ja, stimmt, da ist das wissen, dass ich sammle hier ganz viel Schildverstärke und scheiß einen trotzdem nach einem Treffer tue. Das nennt man Chris. Da kommt natürlich Chris ums Eck. Ah. Scheiße. Ja, Verbindung. Ach nee. Das ist einfach wirklich unentschieden. Das war jetzt wirklich unentschieden, ja.
Krieger. Träger. Interceptor.
108 Kills, Alter. Wir haben hier einen Überläufer. Wer ist denn der Überläufer? Ach, Chris, okay.
All right, I'm back. So let me just see. Oh, Sean, right? We have this segment complete. We need the next. This play exists and is alive. We have this check here. We only need it. So this part of flowchart is still. It's not right anymore, but well. Do we need? Yeah, only if that changed. So this needs to be inside. If it's not the same, yeah, we should probably add a comment here. If current target has, well, it's not like current target. If target has changed, target slash station slash actor slash whatever has changed. Otherwise, we don't want anything happening. That has changed. We check if that thing here has actually a actor. Yep. It's this one here. Let's use our one. So let's go with if, let me see, do we actually, not really, I think, string as actor target name grab actor if specified. A target get string var user var 2 user var 2. I'm gonna grab whatever that is if it is not empty. It's not empty, and if that is not, yeah, we're gonna check that later. Do we? Yeah, I don't think we need to. Yeah, let's not, because we would do something like that. Okay, actor target name. It's not empty. We can actually go and grab the actor. The actor. Let's just see where it is defined. It's not defined yet here. So, and because we need it inside the loop, gonna define it just here. Entity e actor, and gonna grab it here. Get entity. So this grabs me a entity, a object from the map, and since this object here has in user var1, which I read before in the script, the letters eng in it, which is used as target name for this here, target name, we can read the data from here, from this block, and apply certain information on this actor or in the script. And what we're now doing is we assume that what is in user var2 is the target name of this object, so we know which object is the actor for when we aim towards this block. Gonna grab now the named actor, and we're gonna check if that actor is actually present, because there's no point in continuing this part here if there is actually no actor. Doesn't it exist? Actor. And we also check if that actor is alive. We need to do this in a separate check because the scripting language has a little bit of an issue there. Get health. There we go. Health is greater than 0. Actually work with that actor. Let's see what a flowchart says. Flowchart says if target has or is actor. Oh, is actor. Yeah, there we go. Or well, it's gonna be tricky. How are we gonna do this best? Let me see. Let's for now not support is actor, because that implies that we need to use co-op commands, because you cannot check in the game the actual subclass of an object. That's a co-op command. So yeah, we can still upgrade it later. But let's first get the overall structure done. I'm gonna grab the actor, gonna ignore that part here. If actor has dialogue. Okay, so let's just see if the actor has dialogue. Dialogue would be user var 3, no, 2. Oh, did I fuck up something? I think I did. Yeah, that would be 1. Yeah, that's 1, and the other is 2. Let me just check that. One. It's a target name. Target is specified. We go here. Actor specified. Check if actor exists and is alive. Then we check if the target has a dialogue specified. string as dialog. User were true. Play dialog if one if specified. Oh, that looks good. Dialog is not empty. We are going to play a dialog. And also start a function and watch the player. E-actor. Let's just copy from the previous code, from the old code. Just further down, obviously. Stop dialog. Oh, that's the wrong one. Head watch, play dialog, set float var. It's like this, yep. Let's go there. Yeah. Just player can later upgrade it. Play is now talking. Let's rename that function. Yeah, like copy that. Gonna rename that. Commander a timer. That a timer should be renaming itself. Is it down here? There we go. Can I have it like this? So if there is dialog, we have that actor watch. The dialog is specified. And watch player and start timer. Also update the last actor variable. That should actually be pretty much it. Now let's just remove the old code, basically. We're gonna come here, are we? No. Git and go here, go here, check the flowchart again, play the, okay, wait for dollar reset. You have that and the talking. All right, so let's actually start the map and see what's happening, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some script errors. Everything else would just surprise me. There we go. Just we have 295. Go to line 295. Ah, yes, right. That's old code vector last. Let's close this and start it again. Oh, that was fast. Let's use the trigger. Nothing's happening. Oh, that works. But exit does not work. Okay, that works too. Oh, that works too. But it does not remove the old menu. It works when they're talking. It does not reset the full FOV. It does not remove the zooming. So why? It's 4 matches. So it's 2 if. Okay. Okay, that's right. If it is in menu, it's removing. Yeah, it's not setting that it is actually in a menu. That will fix it. So let's change the styling here. Go here, like this, set flow 1. That will fix this. Well, that should fix that. Okay. Activate the trigger. Well, it's not removing the menu. Yeah, now it is. Okay, so there's some else problem. Something else there. It's actually checking here. Fire Alt. Oh. That could be a reason. check where are you occurring. All right. It's reset. It's reset here because, yeah, it's empty then. You don't want this here. You want this where we actually add the menu. So, where are you? Add. There we go. Same goes with the actor. We actually want the last target set when the previous target. No, we actually the previous target when the last. God damn it. If they are not the same, where are you? Same. It's not the same. Actually, here. Okay, let's now see if that works. Use the trigger, zoom out. Okay, he stopped watching us, but he's still watching for some duration, so the exit thingy still doesn't work right. So let's reset the FOV anyway every time, regardless if the player is. No, we do need to check that. Yeah, it's still not. Yeah, but okay. Pretty much here's the problem. So, oh, hello, computer. Yeah, there's a problem with this. This just play commander menu set anyway. This is terminated anyway, regardless of the player. That's right, yeah. So, but this is all player related. It should be. Oh, good heavens! Really? What? No. We all love a good logic error. Still not removing. Okay, that I can't enter the same actor again. It's an okay glitch. I can fix that, but still not removing. Good morning. What's going on with my brain? There we go. That for sure will fix it. Activating. Yeah. So all we have to check now is if the player actually is in a menu or not. If he's not, we allow the player to click on the same, if it's the same entity, zero, or get float where player is not in menu, so that should be 0 then. Activate it, in, out, in, out. Okay, let me just give you, let me just give you the sound. I have to stop my music, and now I should be able to hear my sound. Just see if that is so. If I, of course, click at Barclay.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
Yeah. He is barking. Just saying.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
Hello?
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
That's great.
If you're
Barclay is a king of the holodeck. Barclay is...
Okay, so basically we have achieved our goal. Imagine this is bridge commander and you are sitting on the captain's chair and you clicking on in the direction of a actor, like for example here this actor.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
You're zooming in on the left, that strange hut that just appeared will then represent a menu. So let me just change that so to make the imagination to that easier. I'm gonna go for here. What are you? Press use to enter. Okay, that's the wrong menu. Bridge commander. That sounds right. Just yeah. Put it here, and yeah, we need to put it actually in the map. Delete the menu. Save the map. Gonna close this. Gonna build the map with lights again. And while we're at it, we can grab the name of this here. View area. View area and add it to the list of valid targets. Set up target view area. Great. And we will start the game again. And use that trigger, pretend to be the captain.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
It would look like this, and your mouse would change to a cursor, so you could actually no longer move the camera, but you would be able to select from the buttons. Obviously, I've not created that yet because this is just an experiment, and I don't know if this script is being ever used, but if this is ever being used, then I would assume it's used on the Enterprise eBridge. And you could issue commands to the crew.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read. I really...
Okay, let's just
Greetings,
change
Lieutenant.
something real quick,
Barclay
because
is a king of the holodeck.
we can actually, yeah, let's just change the menu here so we can do a proper demonstration.
Barclay.
I gotta love that barking.
If you're
Greeting. Greet.
It's
Greet.
working.
Greet. Greet. Greet.
Just
Greetings,
zoom
Lieutenant.
here and
I am
if you're
Dr.
interested,
Stevenson.
I have some good books for you to read. I really recommend the
Greetings,
Dixon Hill
Lieutenant.
novels.
I am Dr. Stevenson.
let's just type
If you're interested, I have
Greetings,
some
Lieutenant.
good books for you to read.
I am Dr. Stevenson.
If you're interested, I have some good books for
Barclay
you to read.
is the king
And
of
she's not stopping to talk. So there's something we missed. Let's just see. If the same, if the player is no longer in the menu, we can have the same as the previous actor. So there is no cancellation of the dialogue for the previous actor. That should be changed here. Last actor is on this actor, so we need this. We actually just need to copy this. Yeah. Of course, we should later have it in a function, a separate function, so we just have to call the function and don't have to actually go through the length of adding this whole chunk of code here every time. So if you now target a new actor, the previous actor should stop talking. Let's try that. Use.
Barclay.
If you're interested, I have some.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
That works.
I am Dr.
If you're interested, I have some good.
Barclay is the
If you're interested, I have.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
Well,
Barclay is
I would
If
say
you're interested,
Greetings, Lieutenant.
that works. We have also the view screen as a station, so we can zoom in on the view screen and better see what's happening.
if you're interested, I have. If you're interested. If you're
Let's
interested,
just
I
see
have some
how
good-
far
If you're interested, if you're interested, if you're
should be
interested,
like this. So the line of sight is kinda, yeah, let's just check in the radiant. I'm suspecting, yeah, it is. It's too high. Let's just make this a little bit smaller. So the area where we are actually targeting her is slightly sitting here later. Yeah, you cannot aim like that, so a little bit more. So you can aim slightly over her head and not trigger her. Oh, but we also probably want to expand in this direction, so give the player a little bit more and move it like this. So, because you're more likely to try to access the view screen by aiming here where there's none, sitting at a station rather than here. So, but if you want to target her, you want to give the player the opportunity to get easy to her, because the player would not be targeting this area here anyway, other than wanting to click to her on her. So let's compile this, build, compile. Let's actually use a menu. Let's go away. Close this. Let's just actually, yeah, let's just check this is exactly doing. And press use to interact.
Barclay.
I'm gonna change that. gonna use that, but we're gonna change that. Copy it here and call it B commander. Fire use. Call it fire use, and we're gonna language. Fire use. Press fire to interact. That looks good. Now we're gonna change gonna add it to the script. If we are targeting right, if you're not on a menu, else if we're not pressing fire, we're just looking around. That's the menu we want to add. And else if fire is not in menu 0, then we also check if the player is actually not seeing the tooltip. That would be like the commander tooltip. That's in menu, showing pt tooltip, showing, yeah, you know, showing tooltip 0. We can add the tooltip player, add hot. It's an actual static name, yes. Now, of course, we have to actually set it to true. Set float var. And we have to reverse that as soon as we are entering the menu. I'm gonna remove that here. If we actually have a tooltip shown, gonna remove hot, set float var to 0. And we also need to do that when once the player is dying or close previous menu. What is that? That's just closing, okay. Remove hot. If there is yes, if the player is dying. Can just add this here. Remove tool tip hot. Now let's just try it before we go any further. we go. Pressing use, press fire to interact. Yeah, but this should only be showing when we're targeting a valid...
Barclay is a...
Oh, why is he getting damage? That looks really funny. Let's just see if the others
If
also
you're
get
interested,
damage.
I have some good books for you.
No, it's just him.
If you're interested,
Oh, that's odd.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Barkley.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
Okay, so the zooming part,
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr.
the player should always be at this location. The player will be later then locked at this location, and probably a little bit higher than this.
Barclay is the king of the
And
holodeck.
look at the actors like that.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Greetings, Lieutenant.
if you're in,
Barclay.
Yeah. Barclay has some problems, I think. Whatever they are. It's strange, Mr. Barclay. What are you doing? But,
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
yeah, carry on. So, let's change that. Remove tooltip HUD. Only show the tooltip HUD once. Oh, hang on. Here, if it's not in menu, and if is valid, same, is valid target. Okay, let's go up and remove that printout we have here because this spams the console. I'm gonna go down here again and add that check. If it's showing TT, if it's showing no tooltip and the target is valid. So let me just verify what eTarget is, or it is actually, oh, we need it outside. Okay, so we're just gonna move that. It's no problem. Gonna move it outside. Give the proper commentary. Grad entity player is currently aiming at. So we have that. I'm gonna restart. So Barkley still has problems. Activate. Oh, it's not deactivating. Let's restart the map. It's only activating when I target. Yeah, that's not deactivating. So no problem. Let's just go here. Alt. Here. Just looking around. Managers. Interact tooltip HUD. So if the player is not in menu, we will look up if, yeah, this is faster, so it's on the first place. Showing tooltip, if it's not showing a tooltip, and the target is valid. No, I think we're gonna need this separate. Yeah, gonna need this separate. If we have a valid target and there is no tooltip yet displayed, display the tooltip. Otherwise, when there is no valid target, like for example we're targeting any other object than the one we should interact with, we will remove that interaction if HUD info HUD if it is on the screen. Remove and tell the variable that the HUD has been removed. Test this now. It should just be working beautifully. So it's working. Maybe we can fix the bouncing somehow. Yeah, like have it. How would we do that? Yeah, we need a delay here. So yeah, let's have a counter. Yeah, let's have a variable that counts up. As you can see, it's getting a little bit more complex. I need a float var here, and that would be then an integer, and that would be some t. So I know what that would be. Tooltip. Let's call it delay. And if we are adding the tooltip, I'm gonna add here and check if this is like that. If tooltip delay is bigger or equal, or actually, yeah, it doesn't matter. This would be, I have to zero this out, 0. Same up here. Move HUD 0. What else? Somewhere else. Here. Yeah, as you see, if that would be all in one function, I would just be making function calls. I wouldn't have to go through all the code and edit the stuff everywhere. I would just edit the function, which is something I will do later. I will do it later properly if I continue to work on this. So here. This is here, add, because we have been aiming for, well, that's going to be every frame. We're gonna want to wait a couple of frames, so that would be, let's say 20. That would be 1 second, but we don't want to wait 1 second. Half a second? Do we wait? No, let's do it with bigger or equal to 6. Yeah. Let us check this. The bouncing is unfixed. Still coming up though. So we need to only, right. We need to clear this if target is not valid. And if we have it here, essentially we don't need it anywhere else. We don't need it here, and we don't need it here. I think that was it. Yep. Okay, let's just restart again. Activate. Do it like this. Yep, works. The bouncing of the HUD has stopped. It's no longer showing the interact HUD when you're just going over it. It immediately goes somewhere else. Why is it so laggy? Ah. And menu variable not found, so let me see. Let's just fix that. Just 0 and do the other one for good measure so that we don't get any error messages. There we go. Oh, that looks better. Yeah, looks better. Yeah, but it's still a little bit strange, but I suppose it's because of the second monitor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah. All right, so let's fire to interact.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson. Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
Okay, so the next step is to
Barclay is the king of the
take this
holodeck.
menu, adjust it, keep it as ugly as it is, because it's only a test, and use actual text. PC command of fire use. Actually, these things should be co-op. So let's just have it like co-op, fire use, co-op, use, use. It's just co-op, fire use, and co-op, use, and co-op, fire, old, use. That actually press use to interact. And the next one is press fire, press Alt, fire to interact. There we go. Now we have a couple of new HUDs. Gotta do that. I think the player will figure it out. Close that. Use, fry use. Of course, we have to adjust. To adjust this here. Co-op, fire, use. Occurrences, excellent. Let's just try if that worked. And we have now a new HUD. Activate. Press fire to interact.
Barclay is a...
Yeah, that works.
If you're
Barclay...
Now let's change that UI. Works. Establishing standby communicator. Question is, I don't know which graphics is the right one, so I'm gonna this one it is. Open with fireworks. Let's remove that. That. Move them a little bit down. Oh. Yeah, this is no good example. This is completely broken here. But anyway, I'm gonna use that because reasons. Save as CG TGA. Usually I would convert that to a DDS because performance, but in this case it's just a test, and yeah, that's the right one. I want to do it, or I want to make it as simple as possible, just for testing. So at the end I might create a YouTube video with this, showcasing it, but other than that there's no use for this right now, so there's no reason to make it much more elaborate, complicated, or whatever. Let's have it like 1 BG. That's right. Okay, now I need a a label. Let's go for a label. There we go. Let's add a label here. This is a UI file, which means it's for the user interface of the game. This file is creating the menu and this strange outcards menu I was showing. And let me just go with that. Bridge Commander 1 co-op transport. Yeah, gotta change that to engineering. Yeah, change it to engineering. Have something prepared. It's engineering. It's BC1, or actually we don't need a name here. Gonna remove it altogether. Remove that too. Have that 24.2. That's 12. That's the distance to the left side, the distance to the top, the length of this object, and the height of this object. And this is the font type. And to demonstrate this, I'm gonna make this here in a specific color, semi-transparent, and check how it actually looks inside the game. But first, I can close this. No one needs this anymore. This too. First, I'm gonna check where it is. It's specified here. Bridge Commander 1. Let's just change all of them. Bridge Commander 2. Bridge Commander 3. There we go. Let's save this. Let's recompile the map. So obviously this could be done via script much faster and more efficient, but having it like this attached to the map object allows the mapper to be to not be dependent on the scripts and rather work with the editor, which is something the mappers of course much more familiar with. So it's compiling the level. Oh, it's already done. Excellent. That was quick. We don't need that flowchart anymore. But yes, that was good. So huts, yeah. Huts. Let's see what's happening. Okay, activate.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
If you're interested.
Well, it's working.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
It's working, sort of. Something wrong with it. Let me just see. Bridge Commander, it's not finding the texture. What name does it have? Oh, it's the wrong one. BCBG. Yeah, shit. BCBG1. Is it? No, it's not. It's just. There we go. And the actual size of this is 6. Now we have the engineering text here. Let's add some text for the buttons. Let's go from 60 from left. I would say about 40 from top. Of course, I don't know. And let's use a different color for this. And let's add it to power distribution. Just skip the warm-up time. Use the chair.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Yeah, almost. Engineering is fine, but the power distribution
Barclay
text is
the king. Barclay is the king.
it's
Barclay
way
is
off.
the king of the holodeck.
So that would be further down, further left, further down. Let's go down to 60. Let's go 50. And for the left would be, let's say 10. The font size would be a little bit smaller, obviously. And here we don't need the color anymore. Just make this transparent.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Yeah, further down again. Wonder why Mr. Barclay has problems here. Why do you have problems, Mr. Barclay? Oh, he's stuck in the chair. What happened? Oh, that's interesting. Why are they no longer static? Oh, let's make this one static. See if that fixes Mr. Barclay's problem. Else, I'm also stuck on the console. Okay. What's here? That's the trigger. Okay, let's just recompile this and see what we can do for Mr. Barclay's pain. Further down, 50, how much further down?
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Oh, let's go for 60. 60. Yeah, it's done. Load the map again. There we go. Activate target.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
And that looks almost okay. It's a little bit down and to the right. 14 to, we're gonna remove that color, background color. I'm gonna try that again. Mr. Barclay still has problems. Yeah. But we're not gonna figure out what they exactly are.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Power distribution. Now a little bit more to the right. And we can recycle this thing. Let's go for 18. Let's have that bridge commander 1, bridge. Let's go to base, user interface, bridge commander 1. Copy here, bridge commander 2. And does entity, so what? No. 2 would be this here, and that was actually navigation. Con. Okay. So that's con let's call it navigation. Set course. Just see if that is actually set course. Yeah, that's good. Let's add one more, which would be Bridge Commander 3, which is tactical. Tactical, yes. Set course, tactical. Tactical, target, select, target. Clone this and scan. Scan. And let's see, we have about, let's try it like this, scan. And see what that will do. Oh no, I changed the wrong one. I changed the wrong one. I did. So let's just rename that. Rename that. And let's try it. There we go. Skip, activate, target,
Barclay is
power
If you're
distribution.
interested, I have some.
We're not showing.
Greetings, Lieutenant. Greetings, Lieutenant. Greetings.
Let me see. Why is that? Your Bridge Commander 2. Your Bridge Commander 3. And yes, 2, I think. 2 times 2. Oh, they are 1. 3. And you are 2. Okay, let's activate this.
Barclay is
Engineering.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
Navigation.
Greetings, Lieutenant.
Tactical.
I am Dr.
Select
Stevenson.
target, scan target. Let's change this to set course. And go to full stop. Scan. Read the next. Let's just name it Fire at Will. And let's have a uppercase W, just for thumbs. Use this.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to
What?
read.
Oh,
I really recommend.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
If you're interested, I have some good.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have...
We're gonna need something else here. We're gonna remove that. We're gonna remove that. Because if we actually develop this further, there would be a info probably that would say press use for tactical view, and you would probably see the ship from the outside and be able to control the ship with your movement keys, which is obviously not built in yet, and don't know if that ever will be, but I might make a proof of concept just for funds at some point. Full stop. Yeah, it should be in a different line, maybe. Here we go to this 80, this is fine. Should be 100. Here we go, and we test it again. Skip. And activate the trigger. Press fire to interact.
Is a king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have some good books for you to read.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
Yeah, the fire rate wheel is not quite aligned. So let's say it's 80, 78, which would be then a difference of 16. So if you do a difference of 16 here to that would be 4, 9, 94, and the same here, 78, 78, 78. There we go. Try it again. So there is a user interface menu tool to create user interfaces via visual via a program that displays the widgets, the menu as blocks, and you can move and name the blocks and change the blocks, but it's buggy. It's a great tool, but it crashes a lot, so it's not worth the effort.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have some good books.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson. Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
If you're interested, I have...
Okay, the view screen, of course the HUD is still there because the map has not been
If you're
recompiled.
interested, I have some good books for you to read.
Looks good.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
Barclay is a king of the holodeck.
That looks good. So let's recompile the map, and that's basically it. This will actually be it then for today. Close this, close this, close this. That is co-op mod. So I suppose next time I can continue working on the co-op mod. There's actually a lot to do. Found secret. I think that was already added. Yeah, that's already done. Oh, that needs to be checked. Yeah, but well, for now we have focused on grading or recreating or emulating the way how you give orders on the bridge, kind of like in Bridge Commander for Elite Force 2. So no co-op modding today. Oh, except for the huts, which we now have. Here. Those. Co-op use, co-op fire use, co-op fire old. Which look they look like this. Press fire to interact.
Barclay is the king of the holiday. Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
If you're interested, I have...
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Steve.
If you're interested, I have some good...
Oh, that's interesting. It's not going back when I'm targeting this. So this is another bug I'm gonna fix. But I'm gonna call it a night for today because I think I've pretty much achieved what I wanted to do. And right here, right now, that's actually fine. But let me just check. I think it's a super easy fix. Oh, script. Where are you, my script? Maps. There you go. It will be tickle fire. Ah, there we go. Let's... Ah, yes. Of course. But this can be outside. So that will fix it. Good that I removed the menu info here.
Barclay.
Zoom on the screen, zoom out. Press fire to interact. That should go away once we zoomed. Because if it has no menu, there's no reason to actually add that.
If you're interested...
Yeah, we're gonna remove that. Press fire to interact once the player is zoomed. How we gonna do that? I think we need another variable. Yep, I think we pretty much do. Gonna leave that here. Here. If we are, if the player is not in menu, if the target is valid, and the tooltip is not showing, show the tooltip. All right. But or wait. actually gonna have it just like that and check if there is actually a where do we get? No, that's going to get too complicated. Let's remove it as soon as the player is this is that, and you have a valid target, that's right, and yeah, we still want this. Yeah, let's not go for it if target has no. Don't show it if the target has no menu. And that would be 3, I suppose. User 3. User 1, user 2, get string var. 3 is here. 3 is a check fire. Well, let's just grab it down here because, yeah, everything else would be much more inefficient. It's not empty. Here's the tooltip. Later we can probably add if it's not zoomed. If it is not empty, oh, let's just leave it out. Or player get float var b commander, let's do this, is zoom name. If or the player is not zooming. Now we need to upgrade hot every position where the player might zoom. This is buff. This is resetting the buff, so this is set float var. Resetting zoom. And again, if I would have this stuff in specific functions, changing stuff in the code would be much easier. So since this is just a test map, I don't know if I want to really do that right now. This is zooming. Let's check the next instance. This is resetting zoom. We are not zooming. Yeah. And the next time, I think that actually does the trick. So start the level. Okay, use it.
Barclay is the king of the holodeck.
Zoom here. Zoom out. Choose the text. Yeah, but it doesn't go away. That should be easy to fix. Ah, it's not getting here. It's not getting here. Damn it. We need to have it separate. If here. If the player is indeed in the menu, oh, not in the menu, we allow the player to get into the menu. So if the player is zoomed, the player is not in the menu. And we have a valid target. No, that's not working. Oh, let me just check it again. Zooming in. Once we're zoomed, we want this press fire to interact thingy gone. It's not going away like that. It should go away once we zoom in. Okay, so let's just disable this part because I want to see if I suspect yes. That was actually right. Zoom. Remove HUD. And reset it. Okay, where do we zoom? We zoom here. And we're gonna remove that tooltip HUD here. Yeah, oh, that will fix it. Yeah, fixes it. Just right here.
I have some. If you're interested,
Barclay.
Yeah, what can I say? Flawless. Finally.
if you're interested.
Greetings, Lieutenant. I am Dr. Stevenson.
Barclay is the king of the holiday.
Here we go. Okay, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching, and I hope this actually was to some level interesting or entertaining or sufficiently disturbing to be of any interest to you at some point during these, let me see now, 3 hours of streaming. Okay, so goodbye.